Hi, I'm Rick Tan, and I'm a Waldorf teacher. I'm also a professional artist, musician, and designer. And a couple of websites that I'd like to be able to share with you where I share, along with my wife, some of our work. It's called CirundelAcademy.com, where you can take a look at the information on what kind of workshops might be available. My wife is an excellent fiber artist, so if you're interested in the fiber arts, please visit our website. It's called CirundelAcademy.com. We also share some wood projects and some naturally dyed beautiful silks and other gems of our creative strivings through cirundel.etsy.com, and it's all handmade types of products that a lot of other artists and craftspeople like to share through that website. And I have my own personal blog as well. It's called thewaldorfway.blogspot.com, where I share some verses that I've written, some of the work that I have been doing as a teacher in the Waldorf schools, and also just lots of interesting things that we like to share with other families who are homeschooling out there who'd like to know what kind of things the Tan family has been up to lately. What I will be doing for you today is showing you a method of painting that is very popular in the Waldorf education in schools, and it can definitely be applied in the homeschool sphere. It's called wet on wet method painting. And first of all, I'd like to show you some of the materials that you'll be using for this. There is not a whole lot, but it does take a little bit of an investment on your part to make sure you have all what you need to be able to proceed. And the painting you do at your home with your children. Now, I take the water as a symbol for easy flow, for fluidity. Know that as you paint with your children, you have the luxury of really knowing where your child is, the age, the temperament of the child, how ready the child is to receive the material that you'd like to present for them. So you can gauge just how much painting you'd like to be able to do with them. You can paint every day. If that is where the child is at, you can choose to paint just once a week, and you could fit that painting into your curriculum. Whatever it might be, you can always introduce the painting as being part of that to really give you a well-rounded approach to your teaching at home. So here's what I have. This right here is just it's a board. I believe we got this one at Aaron Brothers, but it is a clipboard, so we can essentially take this out for any other types of art activities out in nature. We can use it as a sketchboard. Today we're going to use it to mount our paper onto, and it's got this handy-dandy handle as well. But for the painting, you can actually use a lot of other materials just to give you a nice, solid, smooth background. I have actually used the top of plastic bins and containers. I found that as I am showing others how to use the painting, to do the painting, the lip of the lid actually captures some of the water that's flowing down from it, so it's very useful. But use whatever resources you have at home. You don't have to go out there and buy anything expensive. Whatever works for you. The paints that we have here, these are watercolor paints, and we purchased these through Rudolf Steiner College. The paints very vibrant. You can tell they're very concentrated because these paints right here you'll be placing into jars and mixing it with water. And the jars do have lids. So after you mix the paint, the pigment, in with the water, you can close that lid pretty tightly and keep it pretty safe for long periods of time. These paints we keep in a refrigerator just to keep it lasting just a little bit. Okay. For a jar this size right here, it really depends on how much pigment you want to work with. Because I've found that I would place even just a quarter teaspoon of this into a jar like this, and I do not like to add too much water into it, as you can tell here. But that gives me some real vibrant colors. Now if you were to add more water to it and dilute the pigment just a little bit, then you'll end up with paint that's a little more diffused, a little bit more pastel, which is okay too if that's the look you're going for. But really it's going to be up to you and just trial and error in how much paint that you'll be producing with the different mixtures and solutions. So the paints, typically these are the colors that you'll find: reds, blues, yellows. They are what a Waldorf school will use, and you'll blend them as you go. And for the younger ones, we tend not to really use too many paints at once. We like to be able to introduce the paints to them little by little. It really is not so much about the multitude of colors that you'll have on a page so much as the feeling of placing the paint onto the page. Bits and pieces of painting essentially becomes a ritual, a ceremony, if you will, of producing an expression, a creative expression. So starting with just little amounts of paints to begin with is a nice way to really be introduced into the art of wet-on-wet method painting. Today, we'll try to go through a little bit of the paints. We probably won't be using too much, just to kind of give you an idea of some of the techniques that we'll be using for this. We have some jars ready for washing our brushes in between the different paints that we use. I have some towels here as well to be able to dry our brush off in between the uses. And of course the brush as well. There's so many different kinds of brushes that you can use. This one here is a flat brush, and there are different sizes to it. It's relatively wider. It's about an inch wide. You can go 1.5 inches. You can even go thinner. Today, with just this 1-inch brush, I think we can pretty much achieve the look that we're going to go for. There's also a type of brush called the Filbert Brush. And that one is actually one of my favorites. I don't have one with me now, but it essentially is like this, but it comes into a little bit of a point. And that way, with one single brush, depending on how hard you press it onto your paper, you can use just a point to create finer lines, or you could press it harder and create that wider paint stroke as well.